Let's talk some Aggies football today.
What do you want to know?
Mike Elko, he's an interesting cat. Today, someone asked him about Notre Dame, and he said, well, I'd prefer not to play teams like Notre Dame in the non-conference. And he was kind of joking.
I think when he did say it, he did say not that he's done 2 news conferences, did one with his local reporters, and he was saying, maybe I'd rather have a different team to open with.
Right. Okay.
I don't think that most coaches say, I don't want to play a team like that, even if they don't want to play that. They wouldn't say it.
Right.
But hey, even if he doesn't want, he's got Notre Dame for the next 2 years, and then I think he has Arizona State after that. So.
And what an opportunity!
Oh, it's a great opportunity.
I mean,
it's a win. It's one of those things that they're going to be an underdog, I believe. And if you lose to Notre Dame, which will probably be a top 10 team, you're not supposed to win. If you win, the whole national outlook on Notre Dame changes. And on Texas A&M changes. And I fully understand why Notre Dame was picked. I just would say I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility. Now, they're going to be up underdogs, and they should, but A&M's going to have a really good defensive line. The people I talk with at Notre Dame tell me Notre Dame has some offensive line issues, some serious ones that they tried to address in the transfer portal, and they got turned down. So
at tackle.
Yeah, right. They're trying to
A&M's
replace
got
a number one
dudes who can rush the passer.
So maybe that matchup gives A&M a shot. Now, of course, Notre Dame has a heck of a defensive line too, and A&M has all kinds of offensive line problems of their own. So these 2 teams are kind of a reflection of each other. So anyway, it'll be an interesting game. College football season can't get here fast enough.
Oh man,
right? So it'll be a lot more fun to see how it works out. But I think A&M has a puncher's chance in that game, and if they were to pull it off.
And you add the dynamic of Riley Leonard being the quarterback now at Notre Dame. He was Mike Elko's quarterback at Duke.
And dang near beat Notre Dame last year.
That's right.
If you remember the game.
Should have.
They're like at the 5-yard line when he got hurt.
Right.
They either had the lead or was about to take the lead. And they only lost that game on a 40-yard run in the last minute.
Right.
So it just you figure it's kind of like the Colt McCoy against Alabama thing. You figure if you'd been able to keep your starting quarterback, maybe you win.
Yeah, absolutely. Olin, Mike Elko, just seeing them today, very meat and potatoes guy.
Yes.
Nothing's really flashy about him. It seems like it's just all about football. And if you're a Texas fan, I think that's terrifying when you have a guy that's coming in with a lot of expectations, but he seems very grounded. He knows College Station from being there. Talk about his Mike Elko experience thus far.
Yeah, he's meat and potatoes, he's just he's just a football coach. He's not there's not a lot of flash to him at all. And he's not going to come up with catchphrases like, Jimbo Fisher gave us a lot of catchphrases. Didn't give us a whole lot of wins, but he gave us a lot of catchphrases. He kept telling us, ain't like it's going to used to be, and so now it got worse. And Mike's just about, hey, in fact, the message today was, the thing is, hey, we've had a quiet offseason, and that's a good thing. It wasn't your coach getting mad at another coach and having a feud, or your coach being pissed off because he's being forced to hire an offensive coordinator that he's not going to use, and, all the drama that's been around A&M. In fact, this was the most serene offseason I had experienced in years. And then this baseball thing came up, and that threw a wrench into all that.
Then the baseball thing came up. Well, Olin, and we know you're busy because you're writing about the Aggies today, but tell us where you think the Aggies are strong, the strength, and maybe where there's still some work to do.
Yeah, absolutely. The strength is the defensive line. I think the defense is going to be really good anyway, even though they got to replace Adrian Cooper at linebacker. They're not going to be as good without him. And they added some guys in the secondary corner because they needed to. And those guys have got to upgrade. But that defensive line is really good. And then beyond that, quarterback. And I think the running backs are really good too. Now, the offensive line, you've got to figure that out. And they brought in a new offensive line coach. Colin Klein brings in a new offense. That helps. They got a guy from Kansas, brought in another guy from Utah center. They got guys coming back from who've been played hurt, like Trey Zoon. He's healthy now. Reuben Father, he missed almost all of last year. Played right tackle. He's going to be back. So they played a true freshman, Chase Basantes, at right tackle, even though he's probably better suited for guard. So he's probably going to shift inside. So there's reasons to think that they could be better in the offensive line. And I've never seen a good team that didn't have a good offensive line. Why did Texas? Is it shocking that they got so much better after they got Kelvin Banks and some of those other guys, right? So they've got to get better in the offensive line. The other area that I would be somewhat concerned about is receiver. They've got some good guys, but I don't know that they have that guy yet who's proven that he can be that number one option that other teams are going to be a little bit nervous about.
Colin Klein, Connor Weigman, you and I were talking about this a little bit earlier. I'm fascinated because I think Colin Klein is really talented, really smart guy. Connor Weigman is, a really talented guy, athletic. I wouldn't say a dual threat because he can spin it. But give us your thoughts on what this A&M offense is going to look like.
Well, look, I have to admit, I'm watching SEC games every year. I don't know if I ever saw Kansas State play last year. Now I did see them play 2 years ago in the Big 12 championship game against TCU when that game was going up and down the field. But if that's you would know more about Colin Klein than I would. I know what people say about him and that he's really good offensively and innovative and has great ideas and does some things that I guarantee he does things A&M hadn't seen in a while because, A&M, you can say, okay, they're going to throw it. They're going to toss it to Devon Achane on this play, and they're going to toss it on that play. And now they're going to fake it to him and throw it to him. A&M was very predictable, has been for the last 2 years. So just having a new offensive coordinator that's going to throw some new wrinkles out there, I think will be a bonus for A&M.
Yeah.
Besides the last game of the season, what's we can talk about that. We'll get to that. But besides that game, what other games on the schedule stick out to you?
Well, of course, Notre Dame.
Right.
Anytime you're playing Notre Dame, it's a big game.
Absolutely.
I once heard, was it Joe Tessitore said Texas is back because they beat Notre Dame. So that's what Notre Dame does, right? And then they play LSU and Missouri. But they get all four of those games are at Cal Field. So, if you're – and that's a good thing because I don't think A&M's won a road game, SEC road game in 3 years. So
well, that's a note.
Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, go ahead and double check me on that, but I don't think they've won since like 20 – maybe they won one in 2021. You can't count Arkansas in that because they play them up in Dallas.
Neutral site.
Yeah, but I don't think they've won a true SEC road game since maybe 2021, maybe even before that. So getting them at home is a big help. And, it's never been the talent has never been the problem at A&M. It's the scheme and some of the coach. You look at a big point in the game, and your coach is over there trying to figure out what play to call. It looks like he has the old Sears catalog, and he's trying to leaf through it. And I can't tell you how many times they've called timeouts because the clock was running out, or they just took the 5-yard penalty, and there was just so much disorganization. So if Colin Klein and Mike Elko can just bring in some organization, they'll be a better team for that.
Yeah. When you think about just this program and where it's at, I mean, Texas got so much hype this week. That has to grind the gears of everybody in College Station.
Yeah, it probably does. But I saw it seemed like it grinded the gears of Nick Saban too. I saw some quote about him.
Made a comment.
So.
Yeah, if what do you say? Texas is not going to come in and run the SEC.
The league.
Right. Look, I think everybody expects Texas to be really good. But I watched some Texas games last year, and tell me, correct me when I'm wrong. They sweated one out against Kansas State.
Oh, yeah.
They sweated one out against Houston. Maybe got an advantageous call. Was it TCU that was?
Yep.
Yeah. And even Wyoming, I think, was interesting.
10-10 in the fourth quarter.
Yeah. So all I'm saying with that is, and I will say this also, Texas got as advantageous not advantageous, but as advantageous a conference schedule as you can get coming into.
I agree.
I would have won money saying, yeah, they're going to get Vanderbilt. But those games against Houston and those games against TCU, that game in the SEC is harder. It's not as forgiving. So if you're not on your A game, the chances of you losing that game just increases. I think you would think you say that's fair, right?
Oh yeah.
So is Texas going to be in there? Are they going to have those games where they're not on their A game? And if they are they going to escape?
Yeah.
And maybe they will, but I'm just saying it's going to be less likely to happen. And a team like Georgia has proven that typically it can, like you might remember was it last year or the year before, they were down going fourth quarter to Missouri.
Right.
But they were able to, do.
And they struggled against Auburn last year.
Right. And, then Auburn should have beaten Alabama. So that's what you run into on pretty much on a weekly basis, except when you get Vanderbilt.
What's your favorite? A lot of our listeners have not been to these SEC venues. What's your favorite SEC venue?
Yeah, man, they're good. It's fun. It is really fun. It's like that Texas-Oklahoma game every week. It really is.
Yeah.
Tennessee's a lot of fun. Tennessee's great. You'll be sick of hearing Rocky Top after like the 500th time they've said it. It's still
in
the first
pregame.
quarter. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Auburn's fun. I like watching that Eagles swoop around before the game, and they're really into it. And that's what it is. LSU can be fun if you get out there unscathed. And I'm not talking about the team. I'm talking about you personally. And my son's there, so he's part of the punks in the stadium that's causing trouble
in the tailgate.
It's just even Mississippi State when do y'all travel to Mississippi State?
Not this year. They come to Austin.
Even there, where it's only about 55,000, but those godforsaken cowbells. Of course, the Longhorns should feel pretty at home with cowbells, but those godforsaken cowbells will just drive you crazy. So it really is like I said, it's a great atmosphere every game. But I'd say if I had to say what's my favorite away venue, I think it's been Tennessee. Tennessee's, you see the boats coming up Tennessee River for the game, and that's pretty cool. And the running through the tee and the checkerboard end zones, and they're really, you've got 100,000 rednecks that they're so excited about their game, that it's just woo, Rocky Top, woo. It's just a great atmosphere.
Olin, really appreciate it. Know you're going 100 miles an hour. November 30th.
November 30th.
It's going to be
it's on.
Crazy.
Like Donkey Kong. No, I can hardly wait. Looking forward to it. Hey, I know you're from Michigan. I grew up in Texas. This is my heritage. I grew up with this game. It was always watch the Cowboys at 3, watch the Longhorns and the Aggies at 8. Back then, I was a big, Texas fan. So, you just
there's nothing like it.
Yeah, it really is, and I'm glad the game's coming back. I didn't like the way it ended, and then the whole "Are you going to bring it back?" The jostling back and forth about you're afraid to play them, or doing all this stuff in the media. But now that it's a conference game, and it's going to be played every year, it's something to look forward to, and just Aggies, just make sure hire extra security that weekend.
Well,
and last one for me before we let you go. Obviously, we're here for football SEC Media Days, but I can't let you go without talking about Jim Schlossnagle and just your position, point of view, how it went down, how you saw it, and your thoughts about it.
Okay, first of all, great coach. Okay, let me put that out there. Great coach. I felt like he was the best coach at Texas A&M for a long time, regardless of sport. Just a great coach, so much attention to detail, and he's going to be successful and also be successful everywhere he goes. Great coach. Now, I'm one that does not believe that Monday night after the game that he had not decided that he was coming to Texas. I'm one that believes that was probably done several weeks in advance, and I've talked to people in Major League Baseball that said, "Oh, we knew that he had taken the job in May, in late May." So And then there are those that say, well, they might have been recruiting for Texas while they were being paid by A&M. Until you show me proof, I got to say, well, it's just a vicious rumor, but it might be true. I just think that, look, if you're going to take that job, if you leave Florida for Florida State or Auburn for Alabama, anything, that's going to be big news. But when you lash out at a guy for doing his job and then you lie about it, want everybody to believe that, no, I just woke up the next day and said, I'm going to take the job. And, by the way, I'm taking my staff with me. Like, they've never told me anything to their guys. I think it was just handled wrong. And that just magnified. There was going to be bitterness, but I think that just magnified it. It was he just should have handled it. Just be upfront with it.
Yeah.
You're a Michigan guy, right? You remember Bill Frieder?
Oh, yeah.
And he took the
right.
job
at Arizona State. And Bo Schembechler.
Then to get that, go take your ass to Tempe then. And they let Steve Fisher win a national championship.
He won the national championship.
So maybe had he said, look, I'm going to take the job, they could say, okay, hey, lead us to the championship. Or, all right, take yourself to Austin. We'll see what we can do with Michael Irvin.
Yeah.
And maybe that would have been the right way to do it.